So guys, with only a few days left of this transfer window, things are starting to heat up. Let's jump into it. Guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. As always, we've got absolutely loads to talk over in today's video. If you do go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. If we get it 300, that would be massively appreciated. Before we do get into anything though, I must give a big shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. As always, you can find their link in the top line of the description down below. As we do head into the tail end of this transfer window, make sure to go ahead and download Football if you want to keep up to date with all the deals that do go through last minute. You can also get live updates to your phone whenever a goal goes in. Obviously, we had some championship action last night. Got more games going on in the league tonight as well, so just helps you stay on top of everything. As well as that, make sure to subscribe if you are new around here. We are pushing our way towards 30,000 subscribers, but without any further ado, let's just jump into this one. So let's start out with QPR. They've completed the deal for Fulham midfielder Stefan Johansson, coming on loan for the rest of the season. Now, for the majority of his career, he's been a really good top-end championship player, albeit could never quite cut it in the Premier League, but was never really given the opportunity to at Fulham. But probably between 2017 and 2018, he was one of the best midfielders in the championship. Got real quality on the ball and the sort of football that QPR like to play, building the play up through midfield. Johansson's obviously going to add quality into that area. Rotherham have completed the loan deal for Ryan Giles for the remainder of the season. Quite an interesting one. He was recalled by Wolves after spending the first half of the season out on loan at Coventry, where for my money he was doing fairly well for himself. Good attacking wing back. I remember at the start of the season especially, we were picking out him and Dabo as those really efficient players going up and down for Coventry, but more recently they've been playing Sam McCallum in that role. Quite different players really. I think that Giles probably has more to his game going forward, but defensively McCallum offers a bit more stability. Good crosser of the ball. I think that Rotherham have got a good player on their hands there. Dwayne Holmes has completed the move back to Huddersfield Town. The playmaker wasn't getting all too much game time at Derby this season, just the 7 starts for him, so the move was always on the cards this January. Excited to see how he gets on. Still 26 years old, so still has time to develop his game. Sam Hutchinson has re-signed for Sheffield Wednesday until the end of the season. Now, I really don't know what to quite make of this one. Sheffield Wednesday fans, I'm interested to get your views on this in the comments down below. He's most recently been playing his football in Cyprus. I mean, it's a tough one to get your head around this one really, isn't it? I mean, Sheffield Wednesday are in a real fight to stay in this league, and in terms of mentality, someone like Sam Hutchinson coming into the dressing room, I think he's a positive. I think he's a real leader in that team in years gone by, and obviously has been a fantastic player in the past. But in 2021, is Sam Hutchinson what this team needs? I'm not sure. I think a big question for this one comes down to fitness and whether he can maintain that until the end of the season. I'm interested to see how this one works out. It is a bit of a gamble. Birmingham's longest serving player Michael Kieftenbelt has joined up with former Birmingham manager Gary Rowett at Millwall. Made his debut last night in the goalless draw against Watford. In that game he came in to partner Ryan Woods. Millwall's midfield's been a bit of a sort of contentious issue so far this season, but I don't mind this bit of business. He obviously has been very much in and out of the Birmingham squad over the past few years, but always came in and did the job. Good ball-winning midfielder. Stoke completed the deal for Charlton fullback Alfie Doherty. I quite like this one. He's very diverse with the sort of positions that he can play. Fills quite a few gaps for Stoke, and I like the new recruitment path that they're going down, looking to lower the average age of the squad, investing in potential. He's a player who did fairly well last season in the Championship for Charlton, and yeah, only 21 years old. I think this one ticks a lot of boxes. Nottingham Forest have completed the deal for Filip Kravinovic. He comes on loan for the rest of the season. We saw him last season obviously at West Brom, where I quite liked him. I'm interested to see if he is going to be the player that's able to knit this Forest midfield together. He's a little bit different to the options they already have there. Obviously, they already have quite a stacked midfield, but creativity was something that this Forest side has been lacking so far this season. You know, recently they've lost the likes of Carvalho and Silva as well. Kravinovic is a player who, while in possession, I think he can be quite effective. We saw that with West Brom last season, but obviously then he had, I mean, some of the best players in the league to bounce off. You know, the likes of Pereira, Diane Garner at times, Callum Robinson, Romain Sawyers. It's a bit of a different challenge that he's walking into with Nottingham Forest at the moment. So it could go either way in terms of if he fits into this side or not. Swansea, who completed a loan move for Seattle Sounders forward Jordan Morris. I mean, Swansea's recruitment over the past couple of years has been absolutely spot on, especially when it has come to loan deals. So on the face of things, it maybe does seem a bit of a gamble, but his last couple of years in the MLS have been absolutely fantastic. Preston were linked to him in the summer, got a real turn of pace about him going forward. Has the sort of physical attributes to be a hit in the Championship, so yeah, this one could very much pay off. Jaden Stockley has completed a loan deal to Charlton for the remainder of the season. I think that this one was probably going to be on the cards when Preston brought in Ched Evans for the rest of the season. I think he'll do quite well in League One. Norwich completed the deal for fullback Dimitris Giannoulis, coming on loan for the remainder of the season, and then should they be promoted, I think there's a clause for the deal to be turned permanent. them. With the way that Norwich like to play football, their fullbacks are an integral part of that, and they got another good attacking one on their hands here. And since we made the last video, there has been an update on the Asai Samuel situation. So QPR and Fenerbahce did come to an agreement for the transfer to take place in January instead of at the end of the season. Obviously, previously he had signed a pre-contract agreement with Fenerbahce, but obviously then that puts QPR in a bit of an awkward situation, having the player on their hands who they know is going to be leaving at the end of the season. So in this way, I suppose QPR get a little bit of money for him at this point in time, and the player gets his move immediately. And now for QPR, obviously they've lost a whole bunch of quality in this squad over the last year. You know, the last two transfer windows now, losing Asai Samuel and Aberi Eze. In two transfer windows, that's a whole bunch of quality that's been lost from the squad. And then we've seen Birmingham complete a loan deal for Raheem Harper. He's coming on loan from West Brom for the remainder of the season. Now with Keithton Belt departing, Harper's probably going to have quite the part to play in the second half of the season for Birmingham. So we'll see how the 20-year-old gets on for the rest of the season. But guys, those were some of the complete deals which have gone through in the Championship over the past 7 days. Now without any further ado, let's jump into some transfer rumours. So let's start out with the Billy Sharp transfer rumour. Derby are one Championship club who have reportedly inquired about his availability of taking him from Sheffield United, but they have been knocked back on this one. Now he's not played all too much football for Sheffield United this season, but Chris Wilder very much still sees him as part of the plans there at Sheffield United. Obviously, big player in the dressing room there for them. His last season in the Championship scored 23 goals, but since being promoted to the Premier League, his game time has been a little bit more limited. Now for Derby, strike is the obvious area where they need to improve on. Obviously, Colin Kazan-Richards short term is doing the job for them there at the moment, but this was a position that, I mean, even back in the summer they needed to invest in long term going forward. At this point in time though, it doesn't seem like this one's all too likely to come off. Burnley have reportedly had a bid rejected for Stoke City defender Nathan Collins. Now quite a bit to unpack with this one. Previously Burnley were being heavily linked with the move for Nottingham Forest centre half Joe Worrell, so with their attention now going towards Collins, maybe that interest will cool a little bit and Worrell will be staying at Nottingham Forest. Now in terms of Nathan Collins, I mean, Stoke have got quite a few up and coming youngsters at the moment, don't they? Collins, with the sort of player that he is though, fits the profile that Burnley are looking for. His game time so far this season has sort of been divided between playing as a centre half and as a right back. Stands at 6'3" and only 19 years of age as well. Is definitely one for the future and who's proven it in the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday are the latest Championship club to be linked to Crewe fullback Harry Pickering. Now I think that Sheffield Wednesday have probably been one of the most negligent clubs when it comes to recruitment in recent years, and switching their attention to young and upcoming prospects from the EFL would be a sign they're starting to turn in the right direction, really, if there was anything concrete with this rumour. Obviously, last time we spoke about Blackburn Rovers' interest in the defender, only 22 years old at the moment. QPR have been linked to Watford midfielder James Garner. He's obviously on loan there from Manchester United at the moment. If anything was to happen in this deal, Watford would have to agree to terminate his loan deal for the rest of the season to be sent back to United, and then he'd get his loan spell elsewhere. Now, whether QPR would still be interested as much as they have been now they complete the deal for Johansson, we'll wait and see. But Watford fans will be interested to know what you make of this one. Garner's not played all too much football lately. His last start for Watford came on the 19th of December. Michael Press North End are being linked with a move for Cardiff fullback Greg Cunningham. This one potentially on the loan deal until the end of the season, with potentially Josh Earl going out on loan. Now, Greg Cunningham, undoubtedly the best left back that I've seen in the North End shit. He was previously our player of the year. He was absolutely fantastic for us. He then broke his leg and shortly after that made his move over to Cardiff, where since he probably hasn't been the same player, been really unlucky at his time with Cardiff as well, with picking up injuries. You know, there's an ACL injury in there as well. He had a previous loan spell with Blackburn. On a short-term loan basis, I'd love to see this one happening. I think he is better than what we currently have in that position. It's all about his fitness, really. You know, after a leg break and an ACL injury, you're always going to lose a yard of pace or so. But mentally and positionally, I'd love to see Greg Cunningham back in the North End shirt. Now, continuing on with Preston North End, when it comes to Ben Davies and Ben Pearson, it's becoming ever more likely that each player will be departing. It's just a question of when they'll be leaving, if it'll be in this January window or if it'll be in the summer on a free transfer. The two clubs who are most interested at this point in time in both players seem to be Bournemouth and Celtic. When it comes to Ben Davies, I think what seems to be the hope with the club at the moment is that he leaves in the summer, whereas Ben Pearson, we're more looking for a deal right now. Honestly, it makes me a little bit sick, the thought that we're going to be losing both these players for next to nothing. Whenever there's official confirmation with either of these two, we'll go into a little bit more detail, but Preston are losing a whole bunch of quality there. And sticking with Bournemouth, they're interested in Newcastle United's Matt Ritchie, taking him back to the Cherries. Now, in years gone by, Matt Ritchie was an absolute dazzling winger in the Championship. I mean, that promotion season with Bournemouth for in the Championship, he scored 15 goals and got 17 assists. Absolutely fantastic. But since then, his game has come on and develop quite a bit. Now for Newcastle is playing as a left back, so if this deal was to go through, I'm interested to see if they would persist with him as that fullback or they'd look to move him back into midfield. MK Dons fullback Matthew Sorinola has been linked to a few clubs at the moment, with both Swansea and Brighton said to be interested in the 19-year-old. Clearly has a lot of potential. We'll wait and see if anything picks up on that rumour. Bristol City are being linked to Wigan fullback Tom Pearce, and I'm sure that Wigan will be absolutely desperate to keep hold of him in this window. He's been really quality so far this season in League One for them. 3 assists from fullback, only 22 years old. Obviously the last transfer between Wigan and Bristol City hasn't quite worked out so far. Joe Williams, I think still yet to make his debut for Bristol City, isn't he? But yeah, Tom Pearce is someone who I expect quite a few Championship clubs to be sniffing around quite soon. And then we'll finish off with Bristol City's Famara Diedhiou. Now he's on a fantastic run of form at the moment. He's scored 6 goals in his last 7 games for Bristol City. Got a brace the other night in their win against Huddersfield. Very much come into form lately after mostly being used as an impact sub for the first half of this season. But the interesting thing about Diedhiou at the moment is his contract situation. So it is running out at the end of the season, quite similarly with a lot of quite big Championship players. You know, we discussed the Preston boys a lot on the channel so far. Alex Mowatt's another one we touched on. But understandably so, Diedhiou, a player of his quality, is attracting interest. So Middlesbrough in the Championship have been one club sniffing around, and also Egyptian side Pyramids FC as well are also interested in taking him. Now, if they were to sell him in this transfer window, they're looking for upwards of £2 million. Obviously, they then run the risk of losing him for a free in the summer. Bristol City fans, how do you guys see this situation unfolding? Let me know down below. But guys, that will now wrap it up for today's video. So as always, if you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Get all your thoughts in the comments down below in terms of what you still think your club needs to be doing for the remainder of this transfer window. Make sure to stick around and subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. But apart from that, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.